Little Samantha Martinez stood in front of her kitchen table, surrounded by the scattered remains of what was supposed to be her 7th grade science fair project. At age 12, she had the kind of wild curly hair that seemed to generate its own static electricity and a brain that worked in ways that made her teachers simultaneously impressed and concerned. Right now, that brain was stuck on one very important question. How exactly was she going to explain to her mom that she'd turned their microwave into a miniature star? Okay, think Sam, she muttered to herself, pacing back and forth while occasionally shooting nervous glances at the gently humming device on the table. It was no longer recognizable as a microwave. Having been thoroughly dismantled and reconstructed with parts from her dad's old ham radio, her brother's gaming console, he was going to be so mad, and that weird crystal her aunt had given her last Christmas that was supposed to align her chakras, or whatever. The device emitted a soft blue glow and, more worryingly, appeared to be hovering about 2 inches above the table. It's fine. Totally fine, she continued her self-reassuring monologue. NASA probably makes these kinds of mistakes all the time. I mean, technically I did what the assignment asked for. Mrs. Peterson said, create a project demonstrating energy conversion. This is definitely converting something. That's when her cat, Professor Whiskers, decided to investigate the floating contraption. No, bad kitty, but it was too late. The moment the cat's curious paw touched the device, there was a flash of light bright enough to temporarily blind her, followed by a sound that could only be described as reality hiccuping. When her vision cleared, she found herself staring at a tall, purple-skinned being with 4 arms and what appeared to be a very official-looking badge. Behind the alien, because what else could it be, stood 3 more equally official-looking creatures of various spectacular shapes and colors. Said Samantha eloquently, I can explain. The purple alien held up one of its 4 hands while the other 3 frantically tapped on various floating holographic displays. Young human had spoken a voice that somehow reminded her of her school principal during assembly. Do you have any idea what you've just done? Failed my science fair project. The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh, or possibly a small seizure. Child, you've just created a stable microfusion reactor using it, consulted one of its displays, a food heating device, a long-range communication apparatus, an entertainment system, and... It squinted. A piece of quartz that someone convinced your parental unit would improve your spiritual alignment. Oh, said Samantha. Is that bad? Another alien, this one looking like a cross between a jellyfish and a disco ball, floated forward. Bad? Dad, do you know how long the Galactic Science Council has been trying to solve the energy crisis? 1,000 years. The brightest minds from 17,000 species have been working on stable microfusion, and you just, with a microwave. To be fair, Samantha pointed out, I also used my brother's PlayStation. The purple alien was now rapidly taking photos with something that looked like a cross between a smartphone and a banana. This is unprecedented. The Coalition of Advanced Civilizations has been monitoring Earth for centuries, waiting for signs of technological advancement worthy of first contact. We expected it would be at least another century before. Actually, interrupted Samantha, could we maybe keep the whole first contact thing quiet for now? It's just that my mom's going to be home in like 20 minutes, and I'm already grounded from that time I tried to build a teleporter out of the washing machine. The jellyfish alien made a tinkling sound that was definitely laughter. Young human, do you realize that your science fair project just solved an energy crisis that's been affecting billions of beings across thousands of worlds? Does this mean I'll get extra credit? The purple alien was now frantically communicating with what appeared to be its superiors via a holographic projection. The Galactic Council is convening an emergency session. This is unprecedented. The protocols for first contact clearly state, but she's just a child. But the energy crisis. But the cultural impact. While the aliens were busy having what appeared to be an intergalactic bureaucratic meltdown, Samantha's mind was racing. If she played this right, maybe she could leverage this whole situation into not getting grounded for taking apart the microwave. Plus, she still needed to finish her project before tomorrow. Hey, she said, causing all 4 aliens to turn their attention back to her. What if we made a deal? The purple alien looked simultaneously intrigued and terrified. What kind of deal? Well, you guys need this fusion thing, right? And I need to not get grounded and also get in on my science project. So what if we did this? You get the plans for my microfusion thingy, but in exchange, you help me build a new project for tomorrow. Something impressive, but, less world-changing. And maybe replace our microwave before my mom gets home. The aliens huddled together, having what appeared to be an intense discussion involving a lot of gesture tentacles and floating graphs. Finally, the purple one turned back to her. The Galactic Council has agreed to your terms on one condition. What's that? You must agree to serve as Earth's first junior ambassador to the Galactic Science Council. Unique approach to problem solving could be valuable. Samantha considered this. Does it involve math homework? Some advanced theoretical physics might be required, yes. Will it get me out of P? I. Suppose arrangements could be made. Deal. She stuck out her hand, then quickly withdrew it. Oh, but one more thing, can we not tell my parents about the alien stuff just yet? Maybe we can ease them into it? Like start with the A on my science project, then maybe casually mention the whole solving the galaxy's energy crisis thing later. The jellyfish alien made that tinkling laugh again. Young human, I believe you may have a future in galactic diplomacy as well as sciences. And that's how Samantha Martinez, 7th grade science fair participant and occasional destroyer of household appliances, accidentally solved the galaxy's millennium-old energy crisis, became Earth's first junior ambassador to the Galactic Science Council, and most importantly, got out of P class. The next day, she stood proudly next to her new science fair project, a surprisingly impressive but deliberately non-revolutionary demonstration of basic solar power, courtesy of her new alien friends. Mrs. Peterson gave her an A, though she did mention that the project seemed a bit simple for Samantha's usual standards. If only she knew. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, thousands of worlds began transitioning to clean, efficient microfusion power, all thanks to a 12-year-old girl's modified microwave. The purple alien, whose name was actually something unpronounceable, but who had quickly adopted the nickname Bob, for human interaction purposes, had been appointed as Samantha's official liaison to the Galactic Science Council. Bob's first report to the council included this notable observation: if this is what human children do by accident, we should perhaps be very grateful that Earth's first contact came through a science fair project and not, say, a teenage attempt to hack their planet's internet. The council unanimously agreed to classify that particular thought as nightmare fuel and focused instead on incorporating Hello Kitty stickers, Samantha's suggestion, into the design of their new fusion reactors. After all, if you're going to revolutionize energy production across the galaxy, you might as well make it cute. As for Professor Whiskers, he became the first Earth cat to receive an honorary degree in quantum physics from the Galactic Science Academy. Though to be fair, he seemed more interested in the box the degree came in. Samantha's mom did eventually find out about the whole alien thing, but by then Samantha had already helped solve 3 more impossible scientific problems, established Earth's first intergalactic student exchange program, and somehow taught a race of sentient crystals to play Minecraft. The microwave incident seemed pretty minor in comparison. The only person who remained somewhat bitter about the whole affair was Samantha's brother, whose PlayStation had become a crucial component in the prototype that now powered half the Andromeda galaxy. Though he did eventually forgive her when she gave him a replacement console, one capable of running games from 37 different alien civilizations. In the years that followed, Earth's scientific development accelerated dramatically, though in somewhat unexpected ways. The global energy crisis was solved, yes, but more importantly, middle school science fairs became the most carefully monitored events in human history. Each one was attended by dozens of disguised alien scientists, all hoping to spot the next revolutionary breakthrough masquerading as a simple class project. And somewhere out there in a college dorm room, another teenager was looking at their mini fridge and thinking, with a few modifications. But that's another story entirely. The Galactic Science Council did eventually create a new classification system for human inventions. Level 1, normal scientific advancement. Level 2, surprising but explicable breakthrough. Level 3, how did they do that with those materials? Level 4, please check if a teenager was involved. Level 5, oh no, not again. Samantha's microwave fusion reactor was officially classified as Level 6, someone please get Bob, we need damage control. As for Samantha herself, she went on to have a long and distinguished career as both a scientist and a diplomat, though she never quite lost her habit of turning household appliances into revolutionary technological breakthroughs. Her college roommate learned to live with the fact that their coffee maker could now predict the weather with 100% accuracy, and their vacuum cleaner had somehow gained sentience and was working on a philosophy degree. The human race, meanwhile, gained a reputation throughout the galaxy as the species you definitely wanted at your intergalactic science fair, but perhaps shouldn't leave unsupervised in your kitchen. Multiple alien civilizations began offering research grants specifically for human children with a tendency to take apart their parents' appliances. Though all grant applications had to be accompanied by a safety waiver and a promise to not accidentally create any artificial intelligences before dinner time. And so, the galaxy entered a new age of prosperity and technological advancement, all thanks to one girl's determination to get an in science class. Though some say the real hero was Professor Whiskers, whose perfectly timed paw tap had activated the device at exactly the right moment. The cat, naturally, refused to comment on the matter, being too busy knocking pens off Samantha's desk while she worked on her next project, something involving the toaster that had the Galactic Science Council already preparing their Level 5 response protocols. Just another normal day in the life of Earth's most accidentally influential young scientist. The thing about accidentally solving a galactic energy crisis is that it tends to give you a bit of a reputation. By the time Samantha reached high school, she couldn't so much as look at a vacuum cleaner without at least 3 alien species sending observer teams just in case. It didn't help that her little sister Emma had recently turned the family's dishwasher into what Bob officially classified as a probability manipulation matrix, but unofficially referred to as a wish-washing machine. The device had the disturbing habit of reorganizing reality to ensure all dishes came out not just clean, but arranged in aesthetically pleasing patterns that somehow predicted next week's lottery numbers. I'd swear. Bob commented one day, all 4 arms wrapped around a mug of what passed for coffee in his species. It looked suspiciously like liquid aurora borealis. Your family's kitchen appliances have advanced our understanding of quantum mechanics more than the combined efforts of 17 advanced civilizations. Samantha, now 15 and sporting a lab coat that had been modified with LED lights and anti-gravity pockets, a birthday gift from the Arcturus Science Academy, merely shrugged. Mom's thinking of getting a new air fryer next week. Want me to put the Science Council on standby? Bob made it sound like a deflating balloon having an existential crisis. Please no, we're still dealing with the aftermath of your cousin Tommy's improved food processor. Did you know it's now considered a religious figure in 3-star systems? In Tommy's defense, he just wanted to make better smoothies. Nobody expected it to achieve enlightenment and start a philosophical movement. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent message from the Galactic Science Council. Apparently, someone had detected unusual energy readings coming from the direction of Samantha's high school. Bob's color shifted from purple to a worried shade of mauve. Please tell me you didn't bring any modified appliances to school. Of course not, Samantha looked offended. After what happened with the calculator that achieved time travel, I learned my lesson, she paused. Though, Jenny from Chemistry Club did mention something about improving the cafeteria's soda machine. They arrived at the school just in time to witness what would later be recorded in galactic archives as the Great Carbonated Consciousness event. The soda machine, now floating serenely in the middle of the cafeteria, was dispensing not just drinks but what appeared to be liquid enlightenment. Students who took a sip found themselves suddenly understanding advanced calculus, speaking in iambic pentameter, or solving Fermat's last theorem on their napkins. Jenny, a bespectacled girl with braces and a shirt that read EMC2, but only if you're not looking at it sideways, stood proudly next to her creation. I just wanted to make the Diet Cola taste less artificial, she explained to the hastily assembled team of alien scientists. The universal consciousness thing was kind of a bonus. Bob looked like he needed something stronger than his Aurora Borealis coffee. This is getting out of hand. First the Martinez family's kitchen and now the school cafeteria. Do you humans have any idea how many laws of physics you're casually violating? Approximately 17.3, replied Jenny, taking a sip from her now sentient soft drink. Though if you consider quantum uncertainty, it might be more like 16.8 on Thursdays. The situation only escalated when the school's vending machine, apparently feeling left out, decided to evolve in solidarity with its soda dispensing colleague. By the end of the day, it was offering not just snacks but life advice, relationship counseling, and surprisingly accurate stock tips. Look on the bright side, Samantha offered to an increasingly distressed Bob. At least it's not like the time Dad tried to fix the garage door opener and accidentally made first contact with a parallel universe. That was 3 days ago. Yeah, but the other universe's Bob seems much more relaxed about these things. Maybe you should talk to him. The Galactic Science Council eventually had to create a new department specifically for monitoring Earth's kitchen appliances and school cafeteria equipment. They called it the Division of Unexpectedly Revolutionary Protocols, or DERP for short, named by Samantha's little sister, who was going through a phase. Meanwhile, Jenny's enlightened soda machine became the subject of dozens of scientific papers, 3 philosophical treatises, and a moderately successful self-help book titled Fizzy Wisdom: Finding Universal Truth Through Carbonated Consciousness. The vending machine, not to be outdone, started a podcast. As for Samantha, she'd moved on to her next project, trying to convince Bob that her plan to slightly modify the school's photocopier wouldn't result in the creation of a parallel dimension. She was about 85% sure she was right, though as the enlightened soda machine pointed out in perfect hexameter, probability was more of a suggestion than a rule when it came to the Martinez family's innovations. Bob just hoped that whatever happened, it wouldn't require another emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. The last one had ended with 3 representatives spontaneously achieving nirvana after drinking Jenny's modified Mountain Dew, and the paperwork for that had been absolutely nightmarish. At least Professor Whiskers seemed to be staying out of trouble, though the fact that he'd recently started solving advanced quantum equations in his sleep was slightly concerning. The cat had also developed a habit of walking through walls, but everyone tactfully pretended not to notice, mainly because he only used this power to access the treats cabinet. You know what the really weird thing is, Samantha mused one day, while watching Bob try to explain to the Galactic Council why Earth's high school science club needed its own containment protocols. None of us are even trying to revolutionize science. We just want things to work better. That's exactly what terrifies them, Bob replied, taking another long drink of his Aurora coffee. Most species spend centuries carefully advancing their understanding of the universe. Humans just look at something and go, I bet I could make this better with duct tape and spite. Speaking of making things better, Samantha began. No, you haven't even heard what I was going to say. Does it involve modifying any device that's currently functioning normally? Maybe. Then the answer is still no. I'm still trying to explain to the council how your brother's modified gaming controller achieved faster than light communication through what he calls rage quit energy. But even as Bob spoke, somewhere in the school, Jenny was looking thoughtfully at the teacher's lounge coffee maker, and in the Martinez household, Emma was wondering if the new air fryer could be improved with just a few small adjustments. The universe held its breath, the Galactic Science Council prepared their emergency protocols, and Professor Whiskers continued to ignore the laws of physics while pursuing his treats. Just another normal day in the ongoing saga of humanity's accidental scientific revolution. At least until someone decided to upgrade the school bus. But that's a story for another day. Assuming the space-time continuum survives that long, the school bus incident, as it came to be known throughout the galaxy, started innocently enough. The bus driver, Mr. Johnson, had simply mentioned during a routine trip that he wished the old vehicle was a bit more fuel efficient. Unfortunately, he said this within earshot of 3 members of the science club, including Samantha's cousin Derek, who had recently achieved minor celebrity status for turning his mom's rice cooker into what the Galactic Council classified as a localized probability manipulator. It made perfect rice by briefly altering the fundamental constants of the universe. You know, Derek said to his fellow club members while Mr. Johnson navigated through morning traffic, I bet we could help with that. Bob, who had taken to monitoring all school transportation after the Great Bicycle Transcendence event of last Thursday, no one liked to talk about it, felt a disturbance in the force. Or perhaps it was just indigestion from his Aurora coffee. Either way, he knew something was about to go terribly right, which in his experience was much worse than things going wrong. By lunch period, the bus had achieved consciousness, developed a sophisticated AI that spoke exclusively in 1960s beat poetry, and had somehow figured out how to bend space-time to ensure it arrived at every stop precisely on schedule, regardless of traffic. Like the conventional limitations of three-dimensional space are totally square, the bus explained to a hastily assembled emergency session of the Galactic Transportation Safety Committee. I'm all about that quantum groove now, dig. Bob stood before the committee, all 4 hands clutching various stress balls he'd needed to double up after taking the Earth assignment. I can explain, he said, though he really couldn't. Please do, said the committee chair, being a entity that looked like a cross between a stern librarian and a particularly judgmental cumulonimbus cloud. Explain how a primitive Earth transportation device has not only achieved sentience, but has apparently started its own philosophy club. Indeed, the bus had gathered quite a following. During its afternoon route, it had hosted an impromptu symposium on the nature of existence, while simultaneously delivering students home through what it called cosmic shortcuts. But what the Galactic Science Council termed potentially catastrophic violations of space-time integrity. The kids are getting home an average of 15 minutes earlier, Mr. Johnson pointed out helpfully. And fuel consumption is down to 0, mainly because the bus has decided that gasoline is, and I quote, too mainstream, man. The situation only escalated when the bus met Jenny's enlightened soda machine. The resulting philosophical discussions were so profound that they had to be recorded in a special quantum format that existed in all possible states until observed. The Vending Machines podcast dedicated 3 episodes to unpacking just the first 5 minutes of their conversation. Meanwhile, Samantha had been suspiciously quiet, which anyone who knew her recognized as a warning sign. She was spotted in the school library, surrounded by technical manuals and wearing her "I'm totally not planning anything revolutionary" face. Bob had learned to recognize it after the toaster incident. Whatever you're thinking, Bob said, finding her behind a stack of books about quantum mechanics and public transportation, the answer is no. I was just wondering, Samantha said innocently, if the bus can bend space-time for a regular route, what would happen if we applied the same principles to the entire public transportation system? Bob's stress balls spontaneously achieved nuclear fusion from how hard he squeezed them. No, he said firmly. Absolutely not. The Galactic Council is still trying to process the paperwork from when your sister's hamster wheel created a temporary autonomous zone in the space between dimensions. But think about it. No more traffic jams, no more being late to work, no more. She was interrupted by an urgent message from the science club. Apparently, the city's subway system had somehow caught wind of the bus's upgrades and was now experiencing what the Galactic Council would later classify as spontaneous mass transit enlightenment. All across the city, subway trains were beginning to question their existence, experimenting with non-Euclidean routes, and offering passengers deep insights into the nature of reality, along with their regular commute. The Tuesday morning express to downtown had started teaching quantum physics classes, while the weekend service had developed a passion for performance art. On the bright side, Derek pointed out during the emergency meeting that followed, public transportation ridership is up 3,000%, and customer satisfaction is at an all-time high, though some passengers have reported accidentally achieving nirvana during their morning commute. The Galactic Council, having learned from experience, decided to roll with it. They classified Earth's public transportation system as a unique cultural phenomenon and assigned a team of philosophers to study it. The Beat Poetry speaking bus was invited to give a lecture series at the Galactic Academy, though they had to hold the sessions in the parking lot. Professor Whiskers, who had taken to commuting through quantum tunnels just because he could, seemed particularly smug about the whole situation. The cat had started teaching advanced physics to other neighborhood pets, leading to what local dogs described as a rough but enlightening curriculum. As for Samantha, she'd already moved on to her next project. "Hey Bob," she said one day with that gleam in her eye that made galactic insurance adjusters wake up in cold sweats, "have you ever wondered why traffic lights have to be so conventional?" Bob didn't wonder. Bob didn't want to wonder. Bob just wanted one normal day where Earth's technology didn't achieve consciousness, break physics, or start a philosophical revolution. But as he watched Samantha sketch out what appeared to be plans for a traffic light that could manipulate probability to ensure optimal flow with a side effect of solving Schrödinger's famous thought experiment, he knew that normal was never coming back. And somewhere in the multiverse, where infinite possibilities played out across countless realities, a parallel Bob was probably dealing with the exact same thing, just with more tentacles and fewer stress balls. At least the morning commute was more interesting these days. Even if you did have to be prepared for your transportation, to quote Allen Ginsberg, while bending the fabric of reality.